Hi, I'm Vicky. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you some fun, easy, very sparkly Dollar Tree crafts that I did. So the first thing I made were some pool noodle giant candies. And I had some different colors of pool noodles. So two of them are very simple. I just cut a piece of the pool noodle off, and then I cut a piece of cellophane to go around it like it was a candy. And I have included here a list of all the materials I used in the projects in this video. So, but this one, once I cut the pool noodle and cut the cellophane and rolled it up, I just took some Christmas ribbon that I thought looked very candy-ish. I have this pale, well, it's sort of a pearlescent white, and I tied it just in a double knot on each end. And I thought that looks pretty candy-like. So that first one, that's all that one is. And then I did this exactly the same thing for this blue one. So the next one, I took a slightly bigger pool noodle, and then I took this wired ribbon that I really liked. I like this red and with the green dots, or green with red dots, very sort of silly, and I always think sort of grinchy and just very silly. But it's also sparkly, so it fits in perfectly with my Christmas theme, which is, well, pretty much every holiday theme, which is sparkly. So all I did was I hot glued the ribbon, not to the pool noodle, because if you do it put the hot glue on the pool noodle will melt. So I hot glued the ribbon to itself in place, and then I started sort of tucked it in on the top a little bit into near the hole, and then I started winding the ribbon around the pool noodle and just stopped to add a little hot glue every couple winds. I'm not worried about it coming off since it's going to be wrapped in cellophane, but if it gets dislodged, you don't want to have to undo the cellophane and retie it, so I glued it just so it would stay in place best. So when I got to the bottom, I did the same sort of thing I did at the top, where I just sort of tucked it in, hot glued it, just to make it look neat. I mean, what the nice thing about wrapping it in cellophane, besides it looking a lot like a candy, is that it also sort of hides any little imperfections. I'm sure you could do a much neater job at the tops than I did if you cut it a little bit, but I just wanted to make it simple, so I just added the hot glued it. And then again, I cut the cellophane and I wrap the pool noodle into the cellophane. And the last step, again, just tie with the little ties in a double knot to make it look like a long candy. So the last pool noodle candy is a piece of pool noodle just wrapped in deco mesh. So I didn't wrap it super deep. You can still see the pink underneath the silver. So I thought under the cellophane that would look interesting. You could certainly do a lot more layers, or if you have a narrower piece of deco mesh, not the 12-inch wide, you can you'll need to do a lot more rows, but you could certainly do more deco mesh to make it more solid looking. But I left it sort of like that, and then hot glued just the one end to itself, because the deco mesh itself is hard to hot glue. And then I just tucked the ends in on this. I did not hot glue the tops of those, because I thought the cellophane would cover it up as well. And you can see I learned from almost dropping the previous one to roll it the other way so that it didn't roll right off the table. And I tied the ends, and that is it for these pool noodles. So the next thing I did was I took some larger ornaments, and I'm using these wire cutters that I have that also have a neat little set of pliers, and they also are wire strippers. So they have a lot of functionality to remove the tops from an ornament. And then I'm going to make a stand out of hot glue on the bottom. So I wasn't sure how big to make it, but I definitely wanted it big enough that it would hold the bulb up once I filled it with picks, but not so big that it would just roll around. One disadvantage of doing it that way instead of making some sort of stand for it is you have to hold the bulb and let it dry, let the hot glue dry before you can set it down. But that's not too big of a deal. So then I just started cutting with these picks, and obviously the hole in the bulb is not super big, so you can't put a lot of stuff in it. Mostly you want to do something that's pretty narrow. But I had this funky white, slightly glittery looking branches that I thought would look kind of neat with the berries. Once I cut what I thought would be a good amount of berries and weird little branches, I just hot glued inside the hole. I know I'm going to have to add more hot glue as I do this, but I figured that would be a good start. I could just set the pieces against the hot glue. And then as I said, I knew I would need some more, but that started it off. And then I just started putting in the berries one by one. So once I got that adjusted and did a couple little adjustments to these little branches, then I made sure it could stand up, because one thing I noticed as I was adding the pieces of the picks and the berries and things, it did tend to tip over a little bit, so I had to reinforce my little stand at the bottom. But I think that it turned out pretty cute. A little abstract, a little weird, but that's one of the fun things about what this bulb filling project is just something really fun. So for the next one, I have these little igloo ornaments. Oh, but these are all shatterproof ornaments. That's the only kind I really buy anymore because we have 2 giant golden retrievers, one of whom you'll see later in the video, sticking his nose in trying to figure out what's going on. And we're always a little worried about them hitting the tree and everything breaking and them, you know, causing chaos and hurting themselves really badly. So pretty much we buy shatterproof, and I put my glass ornaments somewhere where they can't reach them. So this one I made a little less abstract, a little more traditional with the red and the red sticks and the red berries and the little holly leaf. So the next one, or the last one that I did with these ornaments, is this bright purple one. And this one I wanted to look really silly just because it was very glittery. And it really goes with a lot of our decor, this sort of purple and bright purple and sparkles and everything. That's our sort of our whole style. But I have these pieces of bright green tinsel that came off of a garland that I have had for many years, and I thought that would look pretty neat. And then some of these white berries, and I had these clear, I guess they're sort of little stones embedded in this pick. And then it had these fun little spiral, I don't even know, just spirals that I thought would look pretty cool since this one's going to be a little more abstract. So you can see this one's pretty funky with that little brush looking thing sticking up and then the fun little spiral guys. What I really liked about doing these is you could do any combination. I mean, anything that catches your eye and looks pretty. I mean, the berries are very easy, the leaves are very easy, but then, you know, adding a couple of fun little funky guys like this purple one, I just thought that's going to be so much fun when I put it out with the rest of my decor. And one good thing about making the little stand with the hot glue is if it doesn't quite work, you can always add a little more glue. So the next project I did was taking this little Christmas tree, just a tinsel Christmas tree that I almost accidentally bought 4 of from the Dollar Tree. I thought I was buying 1, and it turns out there were 4, and I thought, you know what, I can use them, so that's okay, and they're only $1. But I wanted to add a bunch of ornaments to give it some more pizzazz, and I also wanted to add a bunch of jingle bells so that if you pick it up and shake it, or it will jingle. Not that that's going to happen very often, but I just like the concept of having the jingle bells. So this is one of my favorite kind of Christmas decorations, and you know, you see them in the stores covered with all kinds of different kinds of little ornaments hanging off little trees, and they just look so cute. And I thought, you know, I'd like to make my own. So I have a ton of tiny little ornaments, and the jingle bells, I have medium-sized green ones and small red ones, and I just hot glued them onto this tree. Again, one of the really fun parts about doing something like this is that you can either use anything you have and fill it as much as you like and any colors you like and whatever. And I thought it just turned out really cute. So the last couple projects I wanted to do with my Dollar Tree items was fill these empty plastic ornaments. I have a pack of round ones that I actually bought at Michael's last year, but this teardrop shaped one was at the Dollar Tree this year, along with the fake snow and the little glitter balls, and the beads were just a bead necklace, and I'm cutting them apart individually, though if you could find really small beads that you don't have to cut apart, it'd probably be a lot easier, because that part took me a while. So the only hard part about this particular one is trying to decide how full you want to fill the balls. And I did find my little glitter balls. Some of them were too big, so I had to use up most of the of one package, except for the biggest ones. But I still think it turned out, I mean, I just think they turned out so cute. These little glitter balls just look perfect inside this plastic ornament. So after seeing how nice the red and gold one turned out, being pretty full, I decided I needed to add a few more beads and some more snow to the teal and snow one. Probably it would be easiest to fill the snow in with a funnel, but I didn't have one, and I just used this little piece of paper as a as a funnel. And it worked okay, but it still was a little messy, so probably the best bet is a funnel. And you also have to shake it up pretty good to get the snow to mix in properly, but I still think it turned out really pretty. So those were my fun projects for this week. If you enjoyed those, continue watching. You'll see some more sparkly stuff.